That's why this destruction is going to be so far-fetched and crazy. Because going into this Poseidon missile, it's a nuke that is launched from submarine underwater, and it travels so slow that it can't be detected. So, it travels to a certain point, because it doesn't actually hit land, if I'm not mistaken. But it gets to a certain point before it hits the land, it's detonated, and it basically causes tsunamis and things of that nature. It's typically for a city off coast. It gets detonated off coast. So that's just one of many aspects when it comes to the destruction, man. Again, Yahweh Shema Shai is going to hit this place from all sides. So reading on verse 42, and they shall break down the cities and walls, mountains and hills, trees of the wood and grass of the meadows, and their corn. So, as the scriptures say, because what is that? Roughly paraphrasing, it talks about how children getting dashed to pieces, right? When those missiles hit, man, they're not gonna discriminate, right? They're not going to discriminate, and this is why we're going to need divine protection and deliverance from Yahweh Shema Shai. Ultimately, we're going to have to get beamed up, all right? Because no city's going to be safe, no place, just because Aunt Betty lives in this neighborhood. And no, man, those missiles, they're not going to have any regard, man. They're not going to have any no favoritism or anything like that. So just because hey, this is such and such, right, or this might be such and such, nah, man. All right, and when the destruction takes place, again, this is why we're going to need divine intervention from Yahweh Shema Shai. All right, and all this, man, everything that we see when you go outside, all this shit's going to be different. All right, all this shit's going to be different, man. Isaiah 24 talks about the city of confusion being broken. It says, verse 43, and they shall go steadfastly unto Babylon and make her afraid. So again, there it is. That's how we know this is talking about America. All right, as I read earlier, the destruction that's coming to Assyria is talking about America. All right, it says they shall come to her and besiege her. The star, all right, that might be a video for another time, going into the missiles, man, ultimately, right? It says, in all wrath shall they pour out upon her. Then shall the dust and smoke go up into the heaven, and all they that be about her shall beware her. All right, Revelation 18. And they that remain under her shall do service unto them that have put her in fear. And thou, Asia, thou art partaker of the hope of Babylon, and art the glory of her person. Woe be unto thee, thou wretch, because thou hast made thyself like unto her, and hast decked thy daughters in whoredom, that they might please and glory in thy lovers, which have always desired to commit whoredom with thee. Thou hast followed her that is hated in all her works and inventions. Therefore saith the Most High, I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence, to waste thy houses with destruction and death. And the glory of thy power shall be dried up as a flower. The heat shall arise that is sent over thee. So you see, man, as again, Trump is on this rampage. He's proud. But the scriptures talk about the sun and the moon being darkened, which is double fold, all right, because, it can go into the missiles, but it can also go into wisdom, knowledge, and understanding being confounded, as it also talks about in Isaiah 24. Towards the last verse, the end of the chapter, the last verses, it talks about the wisdom, the stars and the moon being confounded. All right. Because again, man, hey, the Babylon, the golden city, right? This has been in the golden cup in the Lord's hand. Well, she's through. America's through. All right. This place is over, man. The Wadi al Shai. All right. And we're seeing that, right? It says, thou shalt be weakened as a poor woman with stripes and as one chastised with wounds, so that the mighty and lovers shall not be able to receive thee. What I with jealousy have so proceeded against thee, saith the Lord, if thou hadst not always slain my chosen. So you see, this is why Yahweh Shema Shah, judgment has to come here to America. All right. As the scripture said, miserable are thy cities, right, for what they've done to the Lord's people. Right. It says, exalting the stroke of thine hands and saying over their dead, when thou was drunken, set forth the beauty of thy countenance. The reward of thy whoredom shall be in thy bosom. Therefore shalt thou receive recompense. Like as thou hast done unto my chosen, saith the Lord, even so shall the Most High do unto thee, and shall deliver thee into mischief. Thy children shall die of hunger, and thou shalt fall through the sword. Thy cities shall be broken down, and all thine shall perish with the sword in the field. Yeah, because people are gonna be trying to get the hell out of Dodge. All right. And things of that nature. Everyone has a plan A, B, C, D, right? But and needless to say, man, these people they just have no idea what's coming. All right, because all hell breaks loose. And who's to say that you can even make it to the bunk out, your bunker or whatever, your little cabin in the woods or whatever. Who's to say that you're going to be able to make it, right? It says, they that be in the mountains shall die of hunger and eat their own flesh and drink their own blood, for very hunger of bread and thirst of water. Cannibalism is coming back in a major way, all right? And you best believe, hey, even those that make it to those bunkers is going to get to a point where they're going to be eating one another. You best believe. It says, thou as unhappy shall come through the sea and receive plagues again. So, hey, man, that's cold, man. Again, it says, thou as unhappy shall come through the sea and receive plagues again. So it's going to be one thing after another, after another, after another, back to back to back judgments, right? This is going to be back to back to back to back, man. You're not going to have time to rest. Like the scripture said, man, you're not going to have time to bemoan your loved ones, right? You might see your favorite aunt or uncle or whatever, your favorite cousin get off, and you're not going to have time to bury him. You're not going to have time to mourn or anything. This is going to be back to back to back to back. And that's how we know this is talking about, again, as the scriptures say, well, in this chapter, the Lord's going to bring the plagues like he did in Egypt, ancient Egypt, which is one thing after another. It says, and in the passage they shall rush on the idol city and shall destroy some portion of thy land, and consume part of thy glory, and shall return to Babylon that was destroyed. And thou shalt be cast down by them as stubble, and they shall be unto thee as fire, and shall consume thee and thy cities, thy land and thy mountains, all thy woods and thy fruitful trees shall they burn up with fire. Thy children shall they carry away captive, and look, what thou hast, they shall spoil it and mar the beauty of thy face. So again, man, even before the nuclear destruction, man, America's going to be totally unrecognizable. All right, and we can't wait. Yahweh Shema Shah is getting ready to humble this place, man. So with that being said, man, hey, because things are going to start popping over there in the Middle East. And when they do, man, all right, when things start popping off over there, man, the so-called Middle East, all right, hey, man, shit's going to pick up. It's going to get hot and heavy over here in America. They're already talking about it, right? Suspected attacks and, things of that nature, but again, man, overall, man, Esau, he's going to do some shit, all right? It's really going to catapult this thing and set this shit off, all right? Because, again, everyone's pointing at the common denominator, man, Esau, and even in particular Amalek, All right. So, hey, when this shit pops off, man, all right, when the shit pops off, Esau gonna do something stupid, man, and it's gonna cause these Muslim nations that were at one point enemies with one another, and that's been a tool of Esau, conquer and divide. But now they're gonna start coming together, all right, and they're gonna start coming after America or Esau, all right, Babylon is the least glory, all right. So they're gonna come after this place. There's gonna be attacks, all type of things gonna be going on over here in America, man. So Lord willing, this is edifying. All praises to Yahweh Shai. Shalom to you, hopefully, like.